order at 6 p.m., and we do have a quorum. If you please stand for the pledge. Thank you. Okay, agenda item 1, public comments and announcements. At this time, we would like to listen to any member of the audience on any subject matter, whether or not that item is on the agenda. All comments are limited to a maximum of 4 minutes for each speaker, shall be limited to city business or city-related business or matters of general public interest, and shall not include any personal attacks. In accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, members may not discuss or take action on any item that has not been posted on the agenda. When your name is called, please come to the podium and state your name and address clearly into the microphone before making your comments. Thank you, and don't forget you can register online in advance on the website. Okay, first on the list, Melanie Deemer. Please, Melanie, make sure the microphone is turned on. Green light.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
First, do not register online because that's going to make you first to speak. So, here it goes. Okay. My name is Melanie Deemer. I reside at 2123 Waterway, and in September, I will have lived here in Seabrook for 20 years. The one thing I'm sure about is that everyone who has shown up here this evening loves living in Seabrook and wants to see it flourish. Otherwise, you wouldn't have shown up. Tonight, I would like to voice my support for all of the EDC recommendations on funding that are being presented to the City Council tonight. It takes a lot of hard work and tenacity to be a small business owner, and even harder work to become a successful one and to sustain that success. Hold on, let's get away from that. So the approval of these awards tonight not only will help the individual businesses, but they will help the community of Seabrook to grow and to spread the word of just how wonderful our little town really is. How wonderful is it going to be to have all of the current freaks of Soul Freak Cafe want to come down to visit their new location here in the heart of Seabrook, bringing not only new faces, but their dollars as well. Factoid, for my friends out there, Soul Freak currently has 6,700 followers on Facebook and 3,000 followers on Instagram. That's a lot of people who will probably want to come and visit their new cafe if they move down here. Earlier, I had a discussion over Facebook with Mr. Jarvis, and I have a little, I get these little things sent to me. And today it seems kind of apropos for this. It says, only complete acceptance can bring you true peace. Now, acceptance does not mean resignation, but it means acceptance to befriend and transform instead of trying to fight and destroy. And I loved our conversation because we talked about you applying to the EDC, right? And so I would love for you to get some help from the city and maybe put in another application. I know that you were seeking employees to come and work for you. And I know that the EDC has grants or some type of incentives to hire employees. So maybe that's a way where they can get help to you. Some other facts that I learned doing some research is that, hold on, I gotta go find my notes. Where did I put them? 1 minute. The comparison in menus. There are no items that Damn Fine Coffee sells that are on these, except for coffee, except on the Soul Freak menu. Where did I have those numbers? I'm sorry, guys. Oh, crud. Anyway, it's something like you sell around 33 items. They sell food items. They sell about 19 food items. 19 of their food items are not on your menu. 33 food items of yours are not on their menu. It's just a different vibe. You guys are targeting two totally different audiences. I will visit both of you guys because like in my Facebook post I put, sometimes you feel like a nut and sometimes you don't. Two different things. Sometimes I feel like McDonald's. Sometimes I feel like Tukey's. So let's bring all of that here to Seabrook so I don't have to drive over the bridge. So I don't have to drive into Clear Lake. So I don't have to drive into Webster. Let's all have that here. and help each other and help Seabrook to grow and flourish. That's it.
Thank you, Melanie. Jennifer Pitts.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Pitts, and I'm the owner of Genuine Treasures at 902 Hardesty in Old Seabrook. First off, I'd like to thank the members of council that responded to my email. I appreciate the time you took to consider my concerns and for your feedback. Once again, I'm here to speak against the EDC's recommendation to incentivize a coffee shop's move into Old Seabrook. This incentive will not just affect my livelihood and the livelihood of my neighbors, but the health and diversity of our local economy. When multiple businesses of the same kind cluster too close together, it doesn't create a healthy choice for the community. It fragments customer loyalty, divides revenue, and leads to instability. This isn't theory, it's fact. In Fredericksburg, the 80-plus tasting rooms of wine have left repetitive bar scene with generic offerings, higher rents, and closures of unique and independent shops. In Plano, the overabundance of furniture and catalog-style retail in a small area led to business closures and empty storefronts. In Taylor, near Austin, the downtown scene included 3 bars clustered near each other. They all closed at the same time, and guess what? They left the town square lacking the uniqueness of it once had. The list goes on. I want to make it clear, I believe in competition. I believe it inspires quality, innovation, and service. I believe in free enterprise. Every entrepreneur should have a chance to build something great. What this is about is rewarding competition with government funds. According to the Public Accountability and Performance Measures in the EDC Initiative Program Resolution, page 3, it states that every incentive agreement that the SEDC enters into is considered an investment for the public benefit. Each incentive application is considered with regard to its merit to the community at large and its potential to create a multiplying economic effect for the citizens of Seabrook. Given those parameters, this other business should not qualify for city funding. What merit do they offer Old Seabrook? What positive impact do they bring? Nothing. They will take away from longstanding businesses that roast their own coffee and offer a variety of foods. They will take customers from boutiques with their art collective and classes, things that are already offered. They will threaten the existing businesses that are tirelessly trying to keep their doors open. Free enterprise means open, voluntary competition in a fair market. It's about letting businesses rise or fall based on the value they bring to the community. But when a competing business is giving subsidies to move in within feet of an existing one offering the same service, that's not free enterprise. That's government-assisted oversaturation. And in a small community like ours, that kind of replacement leaves real scars: job lost, trust broken, and empty storefronts. If the businesses in Old Seabrook had customers lined up out the door waiting to spend their money, then maybe another coffee shop would make sense. But that's not the case. This is a poor business decision on the part of the owner, and the city and the EDC should not reward it. This city has the opportunity and responsibility to support smart growth, growth that encourages diversity of services and discourages excessive redundancy. Let's promote vibrancy and sustainability with our business community. Let's save this funding for a more deserving business that offers something unique to Old Seabrook. Therefore, I ask that you vote no to this poorly thought out EDC funding suggestion. The future of my business very well may depend on it.
Thank you, Jennifer. Kelly Stewart.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Kelly Stewart. I'm here tonight as a resident who believes every Seabrook business... A little closer? Is that better? Yeah. Okay. I'm here tonight as a resident who believes every Seabrook business deserves a fair and equal opportunity, not just those with the right connections, footprint, or timing. I want to express my full support for Damn Fine Coffee and Fried Pies, and by extension, every small business that's invested in the city without help, subsidy, or special treatment. And yet tonight, we're again considering $41,400 grant from the EDC to Soul Freak, a boutique coffee and retail concept opening just blocks from existing coffee shops and similar stores, including Damn Fine. I want to be clear. This is not whether about Soul Freak is a good business or not. It's about process, it's about fairness, and it's about how we handle public dollars. This proposal already came before council once. Concerns were raised, and when it was returned to EDC, they approved it again unchanged. And now it's back, with no further clarification on how these grants are being evaluated, scored, or prioritized. No criteria and no transparency. That's not due diligence, that's rubber stamping. And unfortunately, it fits into a broader, well-documented pattern. Between 2018 and 2022, the EDC failed to deliver multiple required reports to the council, including annual financial statements and mid-year performance updates. These omissions weren't small. They spanned multiple years and overlapped with major spending, bond payments, and developer incentives. When reports finally arrived, they were often consolidated, 2 years at a time, making it nearly impossible to pinpoint discrepancies or trace decisions. During this period, the city manager served as both city manager and the EDC director, controlling both sides of the financial transfers and approvals. That's not oversight, that's a structural failure. And now, with the EDC searching for a new director, we have a real opportunity to fix it. But we have to act intentionally, because these concerns aren't just historical, they're current. While reviewing the most recent EDC report, I found $83,000 allocated for Bayside Park expansion. And let's be clear, EDC funds are legally restricted to projects that promote economic development, such as tourism, job creation, or revenue generation. A neighborhood park with no public plan, no revenue forecast, no tourism strategy does not automatically qualify, yet the money is already earmarked before any community discussion. This kind of budgeting behind closed doors undermines public trust. And there's more. In the 2024 financial reports that are in the agenda, we see federal funds, including $2.6 million in ARPA funds and more than $4.3 million in FEMA hazard mitigation grants, listed in the same budget structure that includes EDC spending. I'm not suggesting direct misuse, but the proximity of federal recovery funds to local initiative programs demands real scrutiny. Because if ARPA or FEMA funds, which are governed by strict federal rules, are being used, even if indirectly, to subsidize hand-picked business incentives or discretionary projects, then we may be looking at not just poor judgment, but at a compliance issue. So tonight, I'm asking, respectfully, what objective system is in place for evaluating EDC grant applications? Why is Bayside Park expansion being funded through the EDC without a clear impact study or tourism plan?
Kelly, I'll give you 30 seconds to finish.
Okay, I'm almost done. And if federal recovery funds are involved, where is the legal review, the documentation, and the public oversight? This isn't about one grant, one park, or one business. It's about the integrity of the city's entire approach to development. We owe it to the public, and especially to Seabrook small business owners, to get this right. That's why I'm urging council to authorize full independent audit of the EDC expenditures, business grants, and any overlap.
Thank you, Kelly. Your time is up.
Funds.
Okay, I'm going to butcher this last name. Amy Albro. Is that close?
Hi there, I'm Amy Albro. Hope y'all can hear me. I'd like to just take this time to address some concerns that were brought up at EDC meetings and such. Things about commitment, doing things, I'm not really here for competition, where our brand is not about competition. When we started Soul Freak, we started it as an experiment, just to see what was going to happen. We didn't know we were going to turn into what we are, but what we did want was to bring something unique to a community, to bring other people together, have a place where everybody is welcome, no matter your race, religion, political view, anything. So Competition, we do not roast our own beans. No, that is true. We do support local roasteries, the other people that are around. We do not have a contract for any coffee roasters, so we can pick any coffee roasters that we want. Right now, we do our best to promote the local businesses. So Nana's, she's across the street from us in League Park. She sells coffee and coffee beans. So what we've done is we've taken her roast and we showcase her roast once a week. So it brings her business. She's actually said she has gotten business or received business from what we are doing. And so our goal is not to compete with anybody. We are a collaboration of other people. When I started the business, we started, we sought out other, bakeries, things that were local. Food of Life, she now has a storefront. We picked her up out of the co-op in League City. We have Rustica, which we've had all these vendors for years and really trusted relationships with these vendors. We don't cook anything. We don't bake anything. What we do is promote other small businesses. We can't do it alone, and I know how scary it is to think, okay, there's another competition or another vibrant coffee shop coming in. We are we're geared to support the community, support all the people in the community, kids involved, because we do art classes, and we're not wanting to take that from anybody. We're happy in League Park where we are. We do want an opportunity. We love small communities, so we'd love to be a part of another small community. Clear Lake Shores, that was a community that we loved. We started out in Kemah, moved to Clear Lake Shores, and we were happy there. However, we had numerous issues with that location. We had hardships there, just like any small business would. So we survived it and we pushed forward. Perseverance is something that we are about. I staff, right now I have 8 girls here with me. These are my staff. They're not all of my staff, but I do have a lot of, opportunities for employment. And people are knocking on our door trying to get in the door because we have something of value and it's a home for them as well. So they love serving the community. That's something that we're about. Parking, traffic situation. We are going to do our best. Yes, the footprint that we're looking at is going to have a small, little minimal drive-through, window ordering, pickup at a different location. It's not going to be a big drive-through like a Starbucks or anything like that. We're going to try to promote order ahead, which other small businesses could do, to where they can order ahead, pick up. It'll reduce some of the traffic. I know the community is scared about traffic and the flow of traffic, but wouldn't traffic be a good thing? Because we're trying to bring people in, and that'll give attention to the other areas that are back there, all the other businesses. So if we work together and become, a collaboration rather than against each other, I think we'd be more powerful. I do not live in Seabrook, but I hope to one day. I've been
30 seconds, Amy.
Been looking at the area, so we love it, and we love small towns. So we really look forward to trying to support you guys and serve you guys the best way we can. We thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Mel Jonigan.
My name is Mel Jarnigan. I own Damn Fine. You all know that by now. First of all, I want to say that this whole argument is being couched as my business against her business. That's not what this is. This has nothing to do with that. This has to do with, the concept of public funds being allocated to a business that's going to deplete my business. And as much as she says it's not competition, if somebody can drive through and get a coffee on their way to work instead of having to park, get out of their car and walk into my restaurant, less than a 2-minute walk away, I'm going to lose business. I've had a lot of people say, oh, well, I come to your place every, once a week, but, I'll still come there, but I'm going to go to the other place. Do you realize that's losing 50% of my business? How do I replace that 50% of my business? If they're coming to me once and they're coming to her again, there's not enough business for both of us to survive. We're all about collaboration and working with people as well, but we still have to survive. We employ a lot of people because we do cook all of our food. We prepare everything from scratch. We roast all of our coffee. We make everything that is served in our place from scratch. When I came here 2 weeks ago, I spoke to you all. I had no idea it was being filmed, and the video went out online. It's been viewed by over 35,000 people have viewed that video. And the overwhelming consensus is it doesn't make sense to open another coffee shop in Seabrook when you have us, Seabrook Waffle Company, and Alago all within 3-minute walk, not drive, walk of that location. That's oversaturation, and the bottom line is there's not enough business here to support it. They're not going to be bringing in enough business independent of the business that we already possess to feed all 3 mouths. And unfortunately, that's going to mean that somebody goes away. And for the city to take my tax dollars and give it to another business to throw us into a Shark Tank to see who's going to survive, that's not the Seabrook that I know, I really appreciate a few of the people on council have reached out to me and spoke to me in person, let me voice my concerns. But the reality was we voiced our concerns here. You sent this back to the EDC. I voiced my concerns at EDC and I was completely ignored. None of the issues that were addressed here in council were addressed by the EDC. They simply rubber stamped it and sent it back to your desk. My concerns about the drive-through, you're supposed to have 4 cars stacked before the order window. That's impossible on that lot. And that's going to be cars are stacked out in the street. No matter how much they try and mitigate that, that's what it's going to happen. And that's why the ordinance is there. That's why LA Taco had to completely invert their entire design to meet that code. And I don't think we should be giving somebody variance on that code because it's there for a reason, so that the traffic, Hall is a 1.5-lane street. Main Street's a 2-lane street. You cannot have traffic backing up on there. I'm here to ask you to vote no on the incentives. I'm not against competition. I'm not against any other business. If she wants to open her business there, that's fine. I don't think it's a wise decision. I don't think it's a good location. But she has every right to do that. For the city to subsidize that is what I have a problem with. Bottom line is this doesn't meet the parameters set forth of creating a vibrant, diverse mix of businesses, and in no way does it create a sense of community. It creates a sense of competition, which is not what we need. We need to all be drawn together to bring businesses and bring people into Seabrook that are going to offer something unique. The bottom line is we have people who drive past Hall Avenue on Main Street all day long. Invariably, 5, 6, 7 customers a week will say, "Oh, I live on Toddville. I didn't know you were here." Because I can't put a sign at the corner of Hall and Main saying, "Damn fine coffee this way." The city won't put it up. The city won't allow me to put it up. So if that business goes at the corner of Hall and Main, guess what? Less people are going to know I exist. I can't put one on 146 as well. These are the issues that need to be addressed. We need to create a community where people are going to want to go here and explain why people should be coming to Seabrook. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you, Mel. Diane?
Good evening. My name is Diane Gow. I live at 910 Hall here in Old Seabrook. As I previously stated, I think the city council giving money to a directly competing business to similar long-term existing businesses in a concentrated area is wrong. From what I've been told by several council people, right now EDC's focus is on capital development. It seems to me they want nice new buildings. They have approved $41,000 to a coffee shop for a building they will be leasing. The council has implied that it's not too concerned if Soul Freak by chance doesn't last too long in that location, regardless of the negative impact it would have on local businesses. The landlord will have a nice building that they will be able to offer up to the next tenant. I think the tenant improvements should be worked out between the tenant and the landlord, not the city coming in and paying for it. When we first applied 5 years ago for EDC money, build-outs like that did not qualify for EDC funds. The city has a nice new strip mall on 146 where Zane's and Donald's Donuts are. It's been almost 2 years since the strip mall has been finished, and it's still vacant other than those 2 businesses. It's not enough just to have a nice building, and I think we're putting the cart before the horse. I believe the $41,000 could be better spent on figuring out how to get people into our city. We need signage, we need signage, we need signage. I don't know how much more we back in Old Seabrook can say. We need signage, please. It's been a struggle, all of us, since COVID, to try and get something going on collectively and individually. City events, a city web presence that includes all the businesses and the current businesses. A buzz needs to be created that not just Old Seabrook, but all of Seabrook is an awesome place. We live here and it is an awesome place. My hope is tonight that the city council will vote no and that they see there is more to a vibrant, healthy business community than just new buildings with competing businesses. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Diane. Joe Butcher.
Honorable members of the Seabrook City Council and Economic Development Corporation, thank you for the opportunity to address you regarding the proposed funds for another coffee shop here in Old Seabrook. First, I think Old Seabrook's coffee market is already highly competitive with businesses drawing loyal customers, and adding a new coffee shop within shouting distance of these establishments risks oversaturating the market, reducing customer demand, and threatening the sustainability of existing businesses that are important to our local economy. Excuse me. Second, recent closures of coffee shops in the Seabrook and nearby Clear Lake shores, such as Soul Freak Studio Cafe, Sugar Mountain, Coffee Oasis, and the Americano Cafe, highlight the significant risk in this sector. Despite innovative concepts, these ventures struggled against intense competition, and industry data indicates that about 75% of these new coffee companies in the area fell. Past EDC investments, including over $60,000 to the now closed Americano Cafe, have not delivered lasting results, suggesting that funding another coffee shop could repeat these costly outcomes. Third, allocating public funds to a new coffee shop raises concerns about fairness and equitable economic developments. Establishing businesses here who have worked without subsidies, we all put in our own money to meet inspections, rules, to open a food establishment. We all invested a lot of money, of our money, into doing this, so we didn't ask anybody to do it for us. I think it's unfair for y'all to fund another coffee shop to come in here. I have no problem with them coming in. I just have a problem with you guys paying for it. You should focus on bringing in tourists, putting in signage, fixing the pier. You know, we have enough coffee. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Patricia Clementi.
I'm short. Can you hear me all right? Okay. My name's Patricia Clementi. I live in Taylor Lake Village, just down the road. I do not own a business in Seabrook, but I am a frequent flyer, a frequent customer. I love Seabrook, and I have invested a lot of my time and energy in these people who are business owners currently. I know Mel makes an amazing fried pie that was his grandmother's coconut cream recipe. You know, I know that Sarah is a wonderful Christian woman. I not only know these people, I know their businesses. I know how hard they work. And I too think it's very unfair to subsidize a business to come in that will directly saturate the market to the point where they are threatened with possible closures. Because that hurts me. I'm the consumer. It hurts them. They're the business owners who have put their livelihood into this. So oversaturation, I agree with them, is a concern. I agree with them about the traffic concerns. How many accidents has Seabrook seen, especially since the overpass? How many more are we going to see when we increase the traffic and the traffic jams on very narrow streets? It's dangerous. People's lives have been taken and people have been killed because of the traffic problems in this town. I also find it very difficult to believe that any private business that has to rely on taxpayer money is stable enough to make it on their own. That stability that we need. We cannot keep bringing in new businesses and then 6 months to a year later have empty storefronts. It looks terrible. People think that Seabrook is a dying community, and it has been for a long time. But there are diehards like me that refuse to give up on these people. In addition to all of that EDC stuff, I want to take 1 minute to thank Jennifer Pitts, who has received no recognition whatsoever for conceptualizing, organizing, and following through on providing this community with a small business expo that will be held on June 26th. No one's mentioned it. She's worked very hard to bring all of these businesses in our community together to promote what we do, to show off, to be proud. And I truly hope that every one of you will be there, and I truly hope that you will bring friends and say, look at what my community has to offer. Aren't we great? Because we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Joe McCall.
Joe McCall, Seabrook. I've lived here for 59 years. So on the pier, you guys talked about the pier 2 weeks ago. There was talk about removing all the pilings. The pilings do not need to be removed at all. The pier builder that I talked to 3 or 4 months ago said the pilings were actually in really great shape and you could use a snap jacket, and not all the pilings need a snap jacket, just actually a few of them. So that's another way to save a lot of money on this pier. Okay, and then prior to 2021, when the pier got damaged, there was no insurance on the pier. You don't get insurance on a pier. You do get insurance for the person building the pier. They need to have insurance to build a pier, but you don't insure a pier, so there's no cost there. So I think if you just went out and got 3 bids on this pier, you could find out exactly what this pier is going to cost you, and this pier could get built. I think that's what the people have been saying. And remember, I know what people ran on. A bunch of the people who ran for office just voted or ran on they want a pier. This is the way to get it done. So definitely needs to get done. And so the way to get it done is to put it in the 2025 budget. So you guys got to talk about it. They're going to talk to you about, well, this is a 50,000 view of the budget and all that, and we don't really get down into the weeds, but you really do need to get down in the weeds. I found that out. So you got to put it on there or you're not going to ever get the money for it. So that's one thing. The next one is American flags. We're the only city in the area that does not fly American flags. Next year will be the 250th anniversary of this country. I think it's pretty important that we fly them. And if you're thinking out loud, you're saying to yourself, well, we do fly some American flags down Main Street. That's totally different. That's an incentive I put in for the Bay Area Veterans Memorial And then some former mayors and stuff got together and said those need to fly 24/7, 365 days out of the year, which they do. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about on Flag Day, I just drove around to a bunch of cities way smaller than Seabrook. Clear Lake Shores, Taylor Lake, all these little cities fly, El Lago fly American flags. We don't. We used to, but we don't anymore. So we need to get the American flags back. And remember, like I said, next year is the 250th anniversary. So again, this needs to go in the budget because we'd be the only little city not flying an American flag other than what we'd fly down Main Street. And they can be along NASA 1, they can be along 146. I understand those are text dot roads, but other cities do it. You can get the same approval. I've talked to those city mayors and stuff, and they said it's really not that hard. So I just think that's important. So the pier, please in the budget, and I'm asking that we get a budget item for the American flags. And I appreciate it. Thanks for your time. And by the way, one last thing. Jim, I really like the way you give the extra 30 seconds. I mean, if they run over. Sometimes they need it, sometimes they don't. Great job.
Thank you, Joe. J.P. Byers.
How are you guys doing today? My name is J.P. Byers. I live in Seabrook. All 10 of us ran on two major things. All 10 of us ran on transparency and economic development. All 5 of y'all that are sitting up there ran just like I did, just like the other 4 people that aren't here, on transparency and economic development. 2 weeks ago, y'all kicked it down to EDC for the Soul Freak funds to be looked at again, for them to turn around, smirk during the EDC meeting, and just be like, we don't see any problem with it. I agree with Melvis, and I can tell you as a patron of Soul Freak, I've spent plenty of money there, that it is a great business. And whether Jennifer's right, it is a ton of business or not, whether it's going to oversaturate the market, that I don't know. Here's what I do know, is prior to all 5 of y'all being elected, that twice Melvis had applied for EDC funds. There's no question about it. There's nobody that can say they didn't. They did. We have record of it. Gail's given the record out. Both times they were denied. What kills me is that we're now giving funds to another shop in the same genre. We also have Zane. Zane's, when they applied for their funds, was in the middle of Paul Chavez being fired, and they lost the application, and they didn't get their funds. It kills me to see that I've got 2 businesses in this area that are weathered. They have actually weathered the storm, not just COVID, but the 146 project. And they've stood the test of time. But now they are at their wits' end, hanging on by the finest thread. These are people that really need help. They live here in Seabrook, and they own the business in Seabrook. They own the property in Seabrook. And those are the people that we've turned down in the past. I'm not saying that they don't think that they necessarily need it. I think that if you're going to give Soul Freak the $41,000, that I think we should absolutely push the EDC to expedite something to help Melvis improve his parking, to help Melvis build the awning that he wants to build so that he can have some covered seating. Help Jennifer with anything that she needs with her shop. She doesn't have floors in her shop right now. So, I mean, like, there's ways we can do this. I'm running out of time very quickly here, and I've got way more to cover. You guys are also about to vote on whether or not to demolish this building over here for the New Life Church. Sean said that we were giving these people breaks, that we weren't going after ordinances, that we weren't pushing anybody. And yet if you look at the string of ordinance challenges for these people, it was completely and totally expedited. And now we're going to turn around and ask them to either, hey, we're going to demolish this building, charge you $18,333. We're going to put a lien against your building, And by the way, anything happens, don't come talking to us. When really, when it originally got pushed to them, it was specifically said, hey, we know we have violations. We don't have the money. During COVID, we lost a lot of our patrons, and so now we are in the process of struggling. We can't pay for this. And if the city would like to help us, we would love the assistance. Here's the thing, what they want to do is they want to turn that into parking. That's something that all of old Seabrook is missing, is parking. But instead, we're going to spend $18,333 of taxpayer money to turn around and demolish a building that we're going to in turn put a lien on. By the way, it's a business that's been owned for 2 generations, about to be a 3rd generation pastor. They're not going anywhere. When are we going to get our money back? Why don't we instead team up with the church? Talk to them. See if you can get somebody to offer some kind of assistance, saying, hey, we're going to go ahead and do some of this pro bono for a write-off, for tax incentive. On top of that, the other thing that could be really looked at is say, hey.
Finishing up?
Yes, sir. We could turn around and say, hey, here's the deal. We need to go ahead and look at partnering with the church to make this a parking lot for Old Downtown. You're helping them, you're beautifying the city, and also providing more parking when they're not in service.
Thank you. I think that's it for comments. Item 1.1, Mayor, City Council, and/or members of the city staff. And thank you, and I forgot to say, if anybody didn't get a chance to sign up and needs to or wants to come up and say something, now's the time. Sorry, thank you. And thank you for all of your comments tonight. 1.1, Mayor, City Council, and/or members of the city staff may make announcements about city or community events.
All right. Upcoming city events, we have the Texas Outlaw Challenge on Wednesday, June 18th, Saturday, June 21st through June 21st. Once again, that is Wednesday, June 18th through Saturday, June 21st. And the other upcoming event is Chalk the Station over at the Seabrook Police Department. That will be on Saturday, June 28th, 11 a.m. through 1 p.m. Did I miss anything?
I have something.
Yes, sir.
The Seabrook Volunteer Fire Department is having our blood drive on Monday, June 30th at the fire station. Every time there's 5 Mondays in a month, our fire department, we have like a social for the members and we do a blood drive for the community. You can go to the department's Facebook page and it has the link, the QR codes to sign up for it.
Thank you. Anything else? Thank you. Presentations, item 2.1, presentation of the fiscal year 2023-2024 comprehensive annual finance report, CAFR, and audit report conducted by Crow LLP.
Sorry.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Stephanie Harris. I'm a partner with Crow. I'm here to present the highlights of the annual audit for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2024. Page 11 of that document is our official report to City Council. Very pleased to say that we are issuing a clean, unmodified opinion on the city's financial statements. Again, unmodified being the highest level of assurance we can provide the city as your independent auditor, that the financial statements are materially correct and that all disclosures required were included in the footnotes. With that, on page 24, this is the statement of activities for the city on a full accrual basis of accounting, which is different from the annual adoption and operating reports that you prepare throughout the year. This particular presentation is designed to make the city more comparable to a for-profit type entity. For the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2024, the city spent approximately $28.8 million in expenses to provide all municipal services. That kind of breaks down to $10.5 million for utilities and $18.2 million for governmental services. The city collected direct charges for services of $13.6 million. Operating grants and contributions of $172,000, capital grants and contributions of just over $8.1 million. This left the city with a net expense of $6.8 million. If you follow that second column from the far right all the way down, you'll see general revenues. These general revenues are not restricted to a particular service. These include property tax, sales tax, franchise fees, investment income. The city had just over $16.3 million in general revenues. Overall, you saw a positive increase to your ending net position of $9.4 million, leaving a balance of just over $110 million at the end of September 2024. On page 25 is a balance sheet for just the city's governmental funds. There you'll see for the September 30th, 2024 year, the city had approximately $35.9 million in total assets. This particular presentation is modified accrual, so we're only looking at current assets and current liabilities. The city ended the year with $1.5 million in current liabilities, deferred inflows of $846,000. These are simply revenues that will be recognized in a future period. You ended the year with an overall positive fund balance of $33.4 million. I would like to draw attention there to the first fund presented, which is the city's general fund. Third-party creditors and other evaluators of financial statements often look at the city's unassigned fund balance as a measurement of its overall financial strength. You generally want to see at least 3 months or 25% of your existing operating expenses there in unassigned fund balance. This also aligns with the city's policy. The ending fund balance of just over $6 million that is unassigned represents approximately 41% of your 24 expenditures. In addition, your total fund balance is sitting at approximately 58% of your 2024 operating expenses. Page 27. This is also another income statement, but presented modified accrual, so we're only looking at available current revenues that were received, as well as expenditures, including capital outlay and principal on long-term debt. The city had just over $19.7 million in revenues, total expenditures of $22.3 million, which does include capital outlay of $3.4 million. The city had some other financing sources and uses during the year, which included the issuance of debt intended for future capital purposes. Overall, you saw a net increase in your ending fund balance of $14.6 million. Another indicator for the city, long-term or full accrual, would be the net pension liability. The city saw an overall reduction in its net pension liability for 2024. Again, this was primarily the result of investment earnings projected by the state. Additionally, the city saw an overall increase in its own investment earnings, as well as approximately 56%, or just over $781,000. Again, a lot of that is the city's choice to choose to stay in a current investment with Texpool. For the 2024 fiscal year, we also conducted a single audit, which is required when a local government expends more than $750,000 in federal grant expenditures in a 12-month time period. The city had just under $7 million in total federal grant expenditures for 2024. We did test the ARPA recovery funds that were spent. Very pleased to say that we have also issued a clean, unmodified opinion on the city's compliance with its federal grant program requirements. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Anyone have any questions?
So in summary, there were no findings, is that correct?
That's a great summary.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next is item 3, consent agenda. I'll read all these and then we'll take a vote. Item 3.1, approve the minutes of the June 3rd, 2025 City Council meeting. Item 3.2, consider and take all appropriate action on the ratification of a business development incentive agreement by 5735 Bayport Plaza LLC as approved by the Seabrook Economic Development Corporation, SEDC, on April 10, 2025, in accordance with the previously posted business incentive program project resolution for facade improvements at 5735 State Highway 146 in an amount not to exceed $30,000.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Wait, I finished.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. There's more pages. Item 3.3, consider and take all appropriate action on the ratification of a business development incentive agreement by Midnight Slice LLC as approved by the Seabrook Economic Development Corporation, SEDC, on March 13, 2025, in accordance with the previously posted business incentive program project resolution for business development and expansion at 1605 Main Street in an amount not to exceed $26,482.50. And item 3.4, consider and take all appropriate action on the ratification of a business development incentive agreement by Driver and Rescue LLC, Barge 295, as approved by the Seabrook Economic Development Corporation, SEDC, on April 10, 2025, in accordance with the previously posted business incentive program project resolution for small business development in the amount of $50,000 and sales tax rebate up to the amount of $30,000 at 2611 NASA Parkway.
Now I'd like to approve the consent agenda.
All right.
Second.
Councilmember Hammond and Councilmember Sessom, seconded. Any discussion? No, we don't have discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Passed unanimously. Okay, item 4, boards and commissions. Item 4.1, consider and take all appropriate action on the appointment of members to the ad hoc citywide signage committee. As you recall, we were asked to bring potential members. I have 3. I have a list. I'm going to write them down, and then we'll start with the Old Seabrook residents, which there'll be one of for the committee, and then we'll move to the Old Seabrook businesses, list all those, and then we'll vote on those nominees. Do I have any?
Jessica Coolman.
Just for, we'll do residents first. That's Jessica Coleman is an Old Seabrook resident. Okay, yes, that's correct. That was actually mine as well. Thank you. Any others? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to Old Seabrook businesses. I have 2, if I could add. Diane Gal with Damn Fine Coffee, and I spoke to her today, I think, and you're good? Yeah, thank you. And also Jesse Jones with Jesse Jones and Associates with his business in Old Seabrook. Any others?
Yeah, I'd like Kelly Annette and Rick Osbaugh to be added to that list, please. And
I have to write these down, sorry.
yeah, of course.
Okay. Go ahead.
And Jennifer Pitts with Genuine Treasures also. And then I had a question about your Jesse Jones recommendation. On the list that we received, he was listed as the representative from OST.
Yeah, that was a typo. I thought that was the one that OST had voted on, and it wasn't. So that was my fault. Yeah.
So do we have a representative for OST?
The communication that I got back is they had a discussion. It was John that they recommended.
Okay.
He was not there, so.
That presented the signage?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
He was volunteered. We have Diane, Kelly Annette, Jennifer. Anyone else?
I want to nominate Russell Hatfield and Brooke Villanueva from Merlion. No. Seabrook Cheese Company is Russell Hatfield.
Fine.
And then Brooke is Merlion.
That was Russell.
Hatfield, Seabrook Cheese Company.
Yes. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had a maximum of 5 Old Seabrook business members when we voted for this resolution. Do we have any others to add to the list? We have Diane, Russell, Kelly, Annette, Jennifer, and... Oh, yeah, I forgot, sorry. I didn't write Jesse down. Apologies. So we'll have to vote on that. There was only 1 Old Seabrook resident, so that will require no vote. And I guess we'll start voting on... I'll just take a show of hands. How many for Jesse Jones? I'm just going to make hash counts. Okay. Diane? Oh, sorry. Jesse was myself and Summer. Diane was myself and Buddy and Tyler and everybody. Okay. Summer. Russell Hatfield? Everybody? Kelly Annette? Everybody? Jennifer? Okay. Everybody? And I'm sorry, Merlion was? Brooke, sorry. Brooke from Merlion? Okay. Looks like Diane, Russell, Kelly Annette, Jennifer, and Brooke are the old Seabrook business representatives, and Jessica Coleman is the old Seabrook resident representative. There's also a representative from OST, from the EDC, and from council, as I recall. And that's everybody. Okay. I guess I need a motion to accept Jessica Coleman, pardon me, John crossed Jesse out. Diane, Russell, Kelly Annette, Jennifer, and Brooke, sorry, I didn't write her name down. Brooke.
I move to approve the committee as presented by the mayor.
Councilmember Hammond made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Seabrook, thank you for a second. All in favor? And that's unanimous, and thank you. We have a new ad hoc committee. Okay, under new business, item 5.1, consider and take all appropriate action on approval of an expenditure and agreement for demolition of a substandard structure at 1209 Hardesty Avenue for an amount not to exceed $18,335.50, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement. This item is not currently budgeted and will require a budget amendment. Sean, you'll make a presentation?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So what I'd like to do is start out with a little background. So on August 14th, 2024, a portion of the structure located at 1209 Hardesty Avenue was identified by the Code Enforcement Department to be substandard. The violations included unsafe roof, wall, and flooring conditions, violations of the fire, building, and property maintenance code, unsanitary and unsafe conditions unfit for habitation, and structural elements likely to fall or pose injury and risk. September of 2024, church leadership acknowledged the substandard state, but indicated financially inability to abate the violation. So they met with staff, and we went through what the process was and as far as going to the substandard structure board, and they agreed that it was substandard. However, they didn't have the money to repair it or to actually tear it down. October 2nd of 2024, we sent them an official violation notice. And on January 2025, we met with our legal counsel and staff, and we drafted a draft agreement, and the ownership agreed that they would participate. To give you a little background, typically when a structure is identified as potentially substandard, the code enforcement officer or the building official may initiate investigation. So this is our normal process. Notices sent to the property owner, and if compliance isn't achieved, then we schedule a hearing before the Building and Standards Commission. The BCS is ultimately the board that determines whether the structure is officially substandard, and they may determine if repairs or remediation could occur, securing or vacating the property, or demolition. If a demolition order is issued, then the defendant has 30 days to come in compliance with that demolition order. If they fail to, then the city is obligated to tear down that structure and then file a lien on the property. So it's our normal protocol. What's being requested tonight from you all is the property owner is willing to waive the hearing process, and they've agreed that the property is substandard and it does need to be demolished, and they're willing to allow the city to demolish that building and file a lien to recoup the cost, eventually recoup the cost of the demolition. What I've also provided for you guys tonight is some basic pictures of the structure that we're discussing. This structure is connected to a structure that is not substandard. So this is two different structures. One's older, it's independent. When this is removed, the compliant structure will be able to remain and be operational. Again, when you look at this structure, it's in really bad shape. There's mold, there's holes in the roof, there's substandard electrical that's not connected to the system at this time. Again, as you go through, I'm just going to kind of go through these quickly so you guys can kind of see the condition. There's windows that are broken. There is a small amount of asbestos in this building, so as part of our process, we're required to comply with state and federal law when it comes to asbestos abatement in a commercial structure. So the city did at one point in time fund a asbestos survey of this structure so we could identify if there was any asbestos. So when we went through the bid process, we could identify and get bids if there was any investment for abatement. And we did go through that process. And there was some asbestos found around the windows in the caulking. That's the only location. And the contractor that is the low bidder has accounted for the abatement of that asbestos. As we went through the bid process on this, and this is stuff that'll come back at some other time as we go through the agreement process, but we did send this out to bid. We got 3 bidders. The bids ranged from $40,000 to the $18,000 that we're showing. The middle bid was in the $23,000 range. But again, as you go through, you can see the condition of the structure. So again, this is an action that we've worked with this individual. We walked through the process. We communicated to them that it had been identified as substandard structures. We have some of those other cases that are going to be coming forward in the near future to the Board of Adjustments and Substandard Structure Board. They're the same board. They act, it's the same. And so as we go through this process, there was communication. So this is a voluntary action for them to participate in this process. If they fail to do so, then we're obligated to take them to substandard structure. And the most likely the outcome would be the same as we're in now. They're saying they don't have the money to demo, and we'll get an order to demo. After 30 days after that hearing and that order, we're going to be going through the same process. So they're waiving that process with the understanding and acknowledgement that is a substandard structure and it does require demolition at this time. So staff's recommendation is to approve this action with an expenditure not to exceed $18,335.50 and authorize the city manager to execute an agreement between the city and Seabrook, City of Seabrook and New Life Church for a voluntary demolition of the substandard structure located at 1209 Hardesty Avenue, and with a lien being placed on the property. Again, it's stated in this item that this is not a budgeted item, and we will, if this is approved, we'll have to come back at a future council meeting with a budget amendment.
Sean, I had 2 questions. I didn't see a picture, maybe I missed it, of where the substandard structure is attached to the church, the metal building. Is it just sitting there on the building, or was there a walkway through there that was eventually boarded up or something? Or is it just, once you take that structure off, that church will remain whole?
That's correct. It will remain whole.
And that's where they have their services. They have not been using this building.
And we've already done the review. There was some connectivity with some sewer lines,
Okay.
some power lines and some stuff, and we've already accounted for that in the demolition. So we've had multiple people look at this, and there's not going to be an issue with removing this section of the church and then being able to operate and just like they're operating now.
And then it'll just be a pad when it's done, essentially?
The foundation will be removed with this at that location. So
Okay.
it'll just be the new church, and it'll be, that location will be missing.
Move to approve 5.1.
Actually, sorry, before we do that, I wanted to say a few things.
We can discuss, but we have a motion, so we need a second, then we can discuss again.
Oh, okay.
So we just need a second, and then we can discuss.
Second.
We have a second, and we can discuss.
Okay, perfect. So, sorry, still learning. So I wanted to kind of, from what I've heard, I've talked to some people and asked some questions. And I don't think like this sounds, it's presented, and I know you're just presenting what, like the conversations that were had. But the undercurrent of the conversations that I've heard is that this isn't necessarily something that the church wants. It's not like welcome with open arms. It's because they feel like they don't have any other options at the moment. And so from what JP said, and I think this was a good idea, and I'm just curious if this is something that we can look into, parking is consistently an issue in this area. We've heard businesses talk about it today. So is this something that the EDC could maybe go in and consider doing and having it as a parking lot that's utilized by the city when the church is not in session? So it feels like that would have a zero impact on general funds, and it could potentially create, economic opportunity, and at least in the parking arena.
We'd have to approach EDC. I can't speak on behalf of them. And then we'd probably have to review with legal parties agreements with the church and the liens. There's a lot of complications on that one.
Well, understand, but my question is this possible for EDC to step in and become a part of this?
Yeah.
It would be possible for either the city directly without the EDC or the city through the EDC to enter into an agreement with the church for a lease or purchase of the property for parking purposes.
Okay, great. In my opinion, that feels like a better option if the church is willing to engage in those conversations. I mean, I know this is common practice, what's being proposed, but in the spirit of working with the community, I think this is a really good olive branch and way to start.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay. Hearing none, do I have a motion on, I'm sorry, need a vote. All in favor of the item? And we have you are against. Councilperson Cervantes is a nay. Everyone else was a yes. Okay. Let's see. Item 5.2, thank you, Sean. Item 5.2, consider and take all appropriate action on Landmark Aquatics proposal for Pelican Bay Pool aquatic design, permitting, and construction services. Brian?
Good evening. So this is the next step in the Pelican Bay Aquatic Facility. A little bit of background. We had an assessment completed in 2024. We brought that assessment to council. It was an assessment for bringing the structure up to code and all the repairs needed. That was around $800,000. At that time, council decided to proceed with a bond proposal. Landmark Aquatics completed 3 preliminary designs. Of those 3 designs, option B was picked. The bond was successful, and city staff is presenting this as the next step in the project. We're asking for a design bid build. 3 phases. There's a design phase, a bid phase, and a build phase. It complies with Texas Government Code 2269, Chapter C. Under the design build method of construction contract procurement, the city awards a single contract to a firm who both designs and manages construction of the facility. The designer builder contracts directly with its subcontractors and assumes complete responsibility for both the design and construction of the project. This is January 2023. Council directed staff to proceed with bond election for option B, and this is option B. Landmark Aquatics, they were previously selected for the conceptual design phase. The proposal now is for the full design, permitting, and construction administration. A lot of experience in the aquatic field. Today, staff is asking council to consider and take all appropriate action on Landmark Aquatics' proposal to provide design, engineering services, and prepare construction documents for the project with a final intent to be a design bid build project not to exceed $4,500,000. This is also will include building and site modifications for the existing structures. Proposed improvements, demolition of the lap pool and the leisure pool. The construction will be a new zero-depth entry, play structure, tanning ledge, new lap pool, 6-lane, 25-yard, and modern mechanical systems. Next steps would be the design development phase, which is what we're currently in, if approved. It would finalize the layout features and the preliminary budget. Next phase would be the construction document phase. It's full plans, full specs for the project. There would also be a more detailed cost estimate. Third step would be agency review. They would submit plans to the city for review and approval. And then the final step is the bid phase. We would publicly advertise and award to the lowest responsible bidder. This proposal allows seamless transition to design phase. Landmark's familiarity ensures continuity and efficiency. Design bid build complies with the Texas procurement law. And our request is for council approval to proceed with the next design steps. And I can answer any questions.
Move to approve 5.2.
Second.
Councilmember Hammond makes a motion. Councilmember Cabana makes a second. We have any discussion, questions? Any idea how long, let's say, perfect world, how long the project would take?
We are hoping
when the
we
kids
can
go
have it
swimming?
Opened by next year. We're hoping.
Next season?
Next season.
Okay. Anything else? If not, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? None? Unanimous? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Item 5.3, consider and take all appropriate action on a renewal with Blue Cross Blue Shield BCBS for employee medical insurance benefits. Chrissy, your presentation, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So today we're asking you to consider and take appropriate action on our annual renewal for our Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance for employees. This year we had come in with a 96.5% loss ratio to our insurance, which just means basically we are paying as much in claims we're paying oh my gosh, what am I trying to say? We're paying almost as much in our claims as we are in our premiums. So that's why we came in with such a high loss ratio there. So Blue Cross Blue Shield came in with a 34.4% increase, but they were able to negotiate down to 14.5%. Looking at that, we are looking at about $183,000 more to be added for insurance this coming year. That starts on August 1st. That's pretty much all I have on that right now. Do you have any questions?
Move to approve 5.3.
Councilmember Hammond makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second. Oh.
Councilmember Sessom, second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? None? Unanimous? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chrissy. Item 5.4, consider and take all appropriate action on Resolution 2025-15, changing the name of the Open Space and Trails Committee to Parks and Trails Committee as approved for recommendation by the committee at their June 5th, 2025 meeting.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Councilmember Sanford. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Cabana. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Oh, I forgot to read the resolution. I did it bad. I'll read the resolution. A resolution amending Resolution 2012-30 by changing the name of the Open Space and Park and Trails Committee to the Parks and Trails Committee, and confirming that all other items pertaining to this committee contained in Resolutions 2009-05, 2009-17, 2012-30, 2019-26, and 2022-01 shall remain in effect. Thank you. Item 5.5, consider and take all appropriate action on the acceptance and approval of the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report and Audit Report and the single audit for fiscal year 2023-2024 conducted by Crow LLP.
Move to approve 5.5.
I have a motion by Councilmember Hammond. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Cabina. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Unanimous? Thank you. Sorry, that's all for that. Okay, item 6, old business. Consider and take all appropriate action on the ratification of a business development incentive agreement by Soul Freak Holdings LLC as approved by the Seabrook Economic Development Corporation, SEDC, on May 7, 2025. In accordance with the previously posted Business Incentive Program project resolution for new business development at 1305 Main Street in an amount not to exceed $41,400. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve 6.1.
I have a motion by Councilmember Hammond. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Sanford. Any discussion?
Yep.
Certainly.
So I want to say there's competition and there's concentration. We're a small town, still trying to find our way and find our identity. And we have, as was stated, we have these businesses that have like poured everything, that live here, that play here, that have done everything to stay committed to our community. And I really hope that I'm wrong on this. My answer is going to be no. I hope that I'm proven wrong. I welcome new business. I think we're giving an unfair advantage against businesses that have already tried and haven't received the same boost up. So I'm assuming this is going to be voted yes against my vote. However, I just want to say that I hope that if Dan Fine or when Dan Fine comes to the table and asks for the help that we're giving to this other business, that EDC and City Council is willing to work with them and not close doors like they have in the past. So that's it.
Anyone else?
Yeah. This is addressed to council. If we're to turn this down, this incentive down, then we're going to have to come up with a detailed definition and explanation to give to EDC as to which businesses that want to come into Seabrook would be eligible for an incentive if there is existing business in Seabrook. And you take it further, we'd have to also tell the property owners that are out marketing their properties for commercial business as to what would be allowed and what wouldn't be allowed in terms of an incentive. And the incentives, for those that you may not know, is only for the improvements to the physical property. It is not anything to do with the operational expenses of the business. There's been comments made about one business that, Americana Grill, it was an investment of $60,000. Yes, Americana Grill left, I'm not sure why. But in its place, we now have Athena's Corner, and it's been there for 2 years, and it appears to be thriving. The other thing is that if we're to deny, then you're going to have to take, and we're going to have to explain to the rest of Seabrook, to Miramar Shopping Center and our other commercial centers, are we going to apply it there? And I don't see how we can refuse not to. Old Seabrook is not that unique in terms of being a commercial center. So we have those two things that we'd have to do, and would have to do them quickly, and would have to be effective in it. The final thing I want to say is that when you start looking at competitiveness, and I understand the walking distance and the close proximity and everything, but let's just take our whole hotel industry. A year ago, we had a representative come forward and talk about the competitiveness of our hotels. So if we're going to apply that, that would mean no new hotels, and that would mean no Margaritaville, which, by the way, we have some interested people that are talking to us about picking that project up. But those incentives would all go away. So that's my comments going forward, is that that's part of the things we have to consider.
Well, I would argue that Margaritaville was more than a hotel. It was an attraction in itself. But I mean, I still feel I agree with you to a certain extent, buddy. But, the vision is not a town full of coffee shops. You can only drink so much coffee. And that money is going to be split. And like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm proven wrong. But if we give that money and this business doesn't work out, yeah, we have a nice building, but if they drive these other businesses that have invested in our community out in the process, then what are we left with? So that's my concern.
Thank you. I just would like to say that in the EDC, because we did send it back to EDC for review, and we did review it in closed session. Obviously, I can't say what was discussed, but we did review the proposal. Just know that we weren't ignoring anything. And EDC moved it back to council for a vote, so that's what happened. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, we have a motion and a second. I need a vote. All in favor? Opposed? Councilmember Cervantes opposed. Everyone else was in favor, and the motion carries. Thank you. Item 7, routine business. 7.1, City Manager update and report to City Council on various items that require no action, including Seabrook boards and commissions, transportation projects, and City of Seabrook CIP projects.
Mayor and Council, since your last City Council meeting, your OST, or Open Space and Trails Committee, has met. Their last agenda, as heard tonight, was a name change for the commission, which has been approved. There was no recommendations, but discussion on renaming a Bayside Park, discussion on the fence relocation at the Carruthers property on the east track, and then just general discussion on your upcoming RFP. So if you're not aware, we do have an RFP out for the Carruthers property for the grading and drainage. That will be opening on June 26th, so that'll be a bid award coming back to this City Council in the future. In addition, there is an outstanding Keep Texas Beautiful grant for $160,000. So there was further discussion by the board, but no recommendations at this time. Your Economic Development Corporation also met since this last meeting, and probably widely publicized was the Tomato Group, or the Tookies Hamburgers, that was heard before EDC, in addition to the agreement with Soul Freak. Your Planning and Zoning Commission has an upcoming meeting, public hearing on the 17th for the final plat on the Bayport Logistics Center, which is the refrigeration site at the north side of town. For your capital improvement projects, the old Seabrook, old State Highway 146, we're continuing to get the water vault in. That's the last piece to get the city additional water connection off of old 146. Seascape Waterline Project is continuing with some crosses in the Cross Red Bluff section. And then we've been reporting that we had gotten awarded for the portable generators, and those, aside from this location and the fire department location that are also awarded, those are slotted to be coming in very soon. So that's exciting, given that we're coming into hurricane season. That will be very beneficial to the redundancy on our lift stations around town. The wastewater treatment plant is another CIP project that you have, and that's for the demolition of the site at Main Street. We approved a contract by council a while ago for sludge removal. So the basins that you see in the concrete driving by, those were filled with stuff. All the stuff is gone now, so we can move to doing some final preparations with our engineering firm to get the RFP settled. And then lastly, we have a project going on, it's ongoing at Pine Gully at the bridge. So we have an exposed wastewater line that we're going to be boring underneath the channel that will give us some fortification in case of storms. So we're still working on the scope for that project. Facilities project, you heard tonight on your pool facility and the next steps. The fire station generator, we do have a temporary fix. We do have a generator down at that facility. However, we're putting a switch in that will give us some redundancy in case of power loss. The training tower moved into pad site engineering. The EMS expansion project, you'll be hearing that at your next regular city council. So we did open bids since you last met, and we'll be coming back with the bid for not only the EMS expansion to the building, but also, the alternate bids for some items that were in the existing building. For Bremerhaw Park, sent out a little message identifying that the actual two-seat brand new restroom was dropped and delivered. We are waiting on electrical installation and scheduling, so not sure if we're going to quite make it to the Friday previously communicated deadline, but we're hoping to have that restroom up very soon. And then lastly, our North Meyer. So again, we have design grant funds that we were awarded last year, or actually the year before, with the county. And Brian and Jesse are working with the county right now, so they'll be doing a number of scoping meetings. And again, that's the project from Gale's Feed Store up to 146. So it's a pretty big project. They'll work on the design, and then we'll be reporting back hopefully in the future what that potential cost is. That grant is a 50-50 match, and the county, we had estimated $1 million for design, so we have allotted $500,000. The county has also allotted $500,000. And lastly, TxDOT transportation projects. The mayor and I did meet with the new director of TxDOT, and they're working on an alternate plan with the contractor to see if they can open up that Red Bluff exit a little bit sooner, with the caveat that that project is a 5-year project, so at some point at the end, there will be another closure. The director did communicate that they are going to put together a press release that has all the information and turn that out directly to the public, so they can give them the exact timeline. Any questions?
Gail, on the EMS add-on, I know like the fire station, we have a little like wish list of things that are going to, that want to be included in that. When the bid comes to us, will that include, you know, what the things that want to be done, will that already be included into that bid?
So the alternates are just that, they'll be alternates. So the way we'll structure that agenda item is we'll focus on the main part of the bid, which is the building expansion, and then we'll have a separate discussion on each one of the alternates. The hope was we could get everything into the bond amount, but that probably is unlikely. So we'll be talking money and figures when that one comes back.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Thank you, Gail. Oh, sorry.
Are we going to have a ribbon cutting for the new bathroom at Brumberhoff?
We can.
It'll be a toilet paper cutting.
Paper. All right, item 7.2, establish future meeting dates and agenda items.
Mayor and council, your next meeting is a special budget workshop session next week on June 24th at 6 p.m. And your next regular city council meeting is scheduled for July 1st at 6 p.m.
There being no further business being before council, we'll adjourn at 7:27. Thank you.